Look at the turn 4 suites. The spotters stand. They roll out of 4. And the All-Star race is underway.
Oh, we got one in the wall right off the bat.
Busch. Up with Stenhouse. He's not going to be happy about that. Stenhouse going for more.
Yeah, he's been 3 wide already.
Cowboy up. It's time to go. $1 million on the line. There's not a lot of time, but Kyle Busch will pay you back, and here it comes.
Oh, boy.
Fell sideways.
He's
Stuck
in
him
the
in
wall.
the fence. He's done.
Kapow.
Didn't like that. Fought back.
Caution on lap 2.
Well, that didn't take long, Kev.
Man, oh,
I
man.
think we're done here. Killed the right front.
That is not $1 million move.
Well, I saw Kyle Busch up in the wall, and apparently, Clint, you saw a little more than what I saw.
Well, he got assisted. There's no
This
question.
started a row further back when Stenhouse went 3 wide coming out of turn 2, and then he got here.
This is what I was talking about off of 2. Got pushed up into the wall pretty hard. I knew he wasn't going to like it. As soon as he got to him, he took care of it. Stenhouse was trying to run and hide, wasn't he? Here comes the retaliation. You're not going to get away with that. Not with that driver. Stuck him in the fence. This night's over.
Full moon Sunday night.
Going to need some icy hot. He's out of the car already. Oh, wait a minute. He parked in Busch's pit box. Look at this. Got out in his pit box, Kevin.
I like that.
There's Kyle Busch's pit crew. And Ricky Stenhouse climbs over the wall and up to have a word.
Well, the problem is the guy that he's wanting to talk to is still on the racetrack. You see him up on the box there.
Yeah, and look, you know, I think it's one of those scenarios where Stenhouse put it 3 wide, and you see Andy Petrie up there on the pit box like,
we weren't driving it.
Yep, whatever you think, okay.
There's Andy in the white shirt, VP of competition.
Well, there's
RCR.
We knew there's going to be aggression. I didn't know it was going to be on lap 2. Lap 1.
Now the AMR safety crew wants Ricky to go to the care center and be checked out, which is NASCAR protocol when you exit the race due to a crash. And there's the conversation between Stenhouse, crew chief Randall Burnett, and Andy Petrie.
Yeah, and
full moon, boys.
Yeah, that's a heck of a way to start this race off. But you could see these guys know that grip is in those tires, and you know, in that turn right there, Ricky went through the middle. He saw the hole, and
there it is again.
You know, he's there.
I don't. To be honest with you, from that angle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can see Kyle didn't like it, but he didn't run him high.
No, he did not. And, you know, I think
that angle definitely painted a different picture for me.
Stenhouse went for a hole right there, and you know, he didn't, in my opinion, didn't do anything wrong right there. I mean, they had contact up off the corner, but it was he was well past him on the middle lane.
Pits are open. Here comes Daniel Suarez, Truex, Bell, Chastain.
So the
mixed
question
bag
is,
here, Larry.
Will they take the soft tires off and put the primer tire on?
They only have 1 lap on them. This will get them off there. They'll have them for later in the race if needed.
Ah.
Well,
there's the yellow ones.
I think the primary tire they're going to put on there because they know how far they have to go. I think a lot of people saw, you know, the blisters and things on the tires from the open, and I think that they're banking on the fact that those red tires are going to fall off. Regan?
Well, the one at Ross Chastain, you see he's one of those cars that decided to pit right here, and that your guys are exactly correct. Teams were worried about how long these tires would last. A number of crew chiefs said in this scenario, this is exactly what they would do to get those red soft tires off right now.
Ricky Stenhouse goes for a ride, and we're under the first caution of the All-Star race. Next Sunday, the United Football League is back in action. We'll kick things off at 2:30 Eastern when the DC Defenders take on the Memphis Showboats. Or you'll see Michigan battle Houston. Catch all the action on Fox and check for the game in your area.
Larry, this is exactly the scenario that we were wanting to see with these tires. You got 5 of them at the front, and the rest of them put these primaries on.
And there's enough of them that put those primaries on from 6 on back that this might pay dividends on the long run.
The first 5 drivers did not stop. The backgrounds of those drivers are red because they are still on the optional soft tire as we restart to complete lap 10.
Now it should take those primary yellows. They should take time to get going here, but then on the long run, the other ones will fall off. Those guys better running high, that top 5.
We're just about 4 wide exiting turn 2 in the back. Now things settle down back there a bit.
Yeah, and I think this is going to take about 30 or 40 laps for this to all really play out if this goes green. So I think these guys on the reds are going to keep their track position and do the things that they need to do for that amount of time. But at some point, the soft tires are going to start to fall off. They're going to get too hot. They're going to start to slow down. And then that's where you're going to see this primary tire start to have an advantage. But can they pass them? That's going to be the main thing.
RFK side by side. Buscher with the advantage. Now Keselowski up high with Blaney underneath.
With these primary tires, the first 3 or 4 laps are super edgy, especially into turn 1, the entry to the corners. You got to kind of guard against the entry. So
I think a good measuring stick, Joey Logano out front, still on the soft tires, 1855. Christopher Bell back there on the primary, he was in clean air, 1869, 1870. So only 2/10 difference right there.
Yeah, but I think this whole story is going to be told on the backside of this run, Kevin.
Yes, for sure. The backside of the run is definitely going to tell the story.
The fall off.
When we get the fall off, and these tires, they'll start to blister when they get to a certain point on those tires. But the interesting part is just going to be that cycle. We didn't run them far, and then you have that cycle, so that may help them last a little bit.
All right, 17 laps in. Jamie Little's caught up with Ricky Stenhouse.
Well, things escalated quickly with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kyle Busch 2 laps in. Take us through what happened from your perspective.
We passed him. He left the middle open there. You know, short race, you're trying to get all you can get. We passed him, and I guess he was mad. So parked my car in the pit box. I figured he would do something like that. So maybe Richard will hold my watch after the race.
Oh, he's going to wait. He has to wait.
He has no choice. The back gate will not open.
That's
right.
the hard thing about wrecking out early at this joint. You cannot get out of here.
Yeah, there is no tunnel and no walkover like at Dover. So until the pit gate opens, you'll get to watch the race.
Denny big time sideways down the front straightaway, trying to get underneath Chastain. Man, he about lost it, guys.
Here's another look.
Oh yeah, right. So there's a bump right at that restart line down there, right before it, and you want to be in the throttle right there, but if you got a lot of wheel in that thing and it hits the bump at the same time, it'll snap the back of that car out from underneath you.
That was as close as it gets.
Allmendinger, the leaf filter cam, giving these views of Bubba Wallace, who transferred in from the Open. Here's your Xfinity fastest lap. Tyler Reddick, 18:45.
Yeah, and those last lap for Joey Logano was an 18:48, so those reds are still holding on pretty good. Let's see, we're 22 laps in right here, so this is going to get interesting as we get to the middle portion of this run, Clint.
Yes, sir. I think about 75 to 80 right in there. If this thing goes green, these guys are going to be in trouble.
I ran about 53 laps in Larson's car on Friday in practice, straight in a row on the reds. Very, I would say, not the same conditions, but similar conditions. But this soft tire really lays the rubber down on the racetrack. We saw that in the open. These guys are able to move all around the racetrack. But
this car right here, Joey Logano in the 22, was the one that ran on these reds the longest. Ran 63 laps on a set of these reds. So he has probably the most experience with this softer compound.
And Logano under no threat as the front half of the field is single file. Let's get an update on our pole sitter.
Yeah, and I talked to Paul Wolf, his crew chief for Joey Logano. They ran 65 straight laps on this red sidewall softer tire. And Paul told me, hey, I don't want to do it, but if we need to run the whole 100 laps here before that caution where we'll come in and pit, he said, we can do it. This tire's really good early, and then it kind of tapers off. It doesn't die like we expected it to. He said, it's good, it's solid. Right now, just trying to take care of the right rear.
What are we seeing dying, though? This 45 car, Reddick in trouble. Buscher passes him.
yeah, he's already starting to fade off there with those soft tires. But I mean, there's going to be some cars that are really good, some cars that take off good, some cars that fade. Some cars are going to hold on pretty good, as we saw in practice the other day. So it's just all a matter of how your car is handling, and it shows up in the blink of an eye when those tires blister.
Tell you what's showing up, and it's been, and over the course of the last 3 weeks, these Fords, they came to play again this weekend. Kansas, Darlington, and now this short track.
Well, this is really where it started. We heard Joey Logano talk about his test here and some of the things that they learned, and they immediately went to Richmond and ran better and have started that progression of getting better every week.
Love what I've seen out of this racetrack. The groove, the multi-groove on the bottom, on the middle, and the top. These guys are able to race everywhere. You just don't see that out of repave.
And just to go back and touch on this again, the bottom lane about 10 degrees of banking, top lane about 12 degrees of banking. So they have this is a totally different racetrack than the style of race that we saw last year. Very physical. Really, really fast corner speeds. You're about 25 miles an hour faster on corner entry than what we were last year. So these guys are getting after it in the car, and you better relax or it'll wear you out quick.
So still up front, the 5 drivers that did not pit under that caution with the red backgrounds. That means they are still on the optional soft tire. Christopher Bell, the first of those that changed to the primary tire.
Reddick's definitely, Reddick is the one that's slipping the most. Obviously, we just covered that, but out of all the guys that are on the soft tires, he's in the 80s. Everybody else around him is running 60s.
From the Toyota Cam on board Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski looking to make the pass of what restarted as the second place car. Reddick has fallen to 4th and is about to be 5th.
Well, that's what we want to see. We want to see these cars start to fade, and we want to see those primary tires start to be the advantage. And the guy who's in second place is also pretty quick. Chris Buscher, he went by Reddick and is maintaining his gap to Joey Logano.
36 laps complete. We've had 1 caution flag for Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse. Joey Logano has led all the way so far in the NASCAR All-Star race. We'll go side by side. 44 laps complete. In the 200-lap All-Star race, here's the Monster Energy Cam on board Ty Gibbs, who won the Open to transfer through and is currently 12th. Now, Christopher Bell has made some inroads on the drivers who are still on the soft tire, and that softer tire is still faster than the prime tire. We put our heads together during the commercial break and kind of conclude that around lap 75, that should or could flip where the prime tire becomes an advantage. Regan?
Well, Mike, one of those cars that is still on the softer tire right now, Brad Keselowski in 4th place. He told his team that he's way too loose on the throttle off of the corners initially on the run, but it had started coming around to him and getting better. Keep in mind, Matt McCall told me earlier today, if a scenario presented itself to where they could run this tire a long time, that is Brad's specialty, managing a tire, which we could have to see out of him right now. Jamie?
Well, Regan, I'm in the 5 box for Kyle Larson. I just noticed the team took those softer tires and put them back on the wall. I just asked the team, they said these are the tires we started the race on, so they're scuffs, and we're ready to put them back on when we pit the next time.
And Kevin, you were concerned, was the car going to be free enough for Kyle Larson? We know he likes a free car. Actually, he's complaining about being too loose. Cliff Daniels said crank some front bias in it, some front brake bias in it.
Why was that, Kevin? Why do you told me in a pre-race this track has cooled down, probably going to make these cars loose.
Yeah, well, it just makes the front end turn better, and then when the front end turns better and has more grip, then the back of the car gets loose. So, you know, I think that, I think based upon what everybody did on Friday, they knew that they needed to loosen their car up, and we heard Alex Bowman talk about it after the Open, that we got on the other side of the fence and got the car too loose. You want the car to rotate, but you got to be secure enough on the entry and exit to be able to make lap time.
Well, Denny Hamlin is the fastest car on the racetrack on the prime tire. We saw Hamlin drive by Ross Chastain and move up into the 8th place.
No surprise from what we've seen in practice, Kevin. That 11 car was lights out fast.
He was definitely fast, and his car, he's so good at keeping his car from falling off and being so consistent on the long runs and being able to manage that car through the center of the corner by getting it to rotate and being able to still put the throttle down. That's where these Gibbs cars have been so good on these short tracks, being able to have that grip, but also be able to rotate in the center of the corner.
Chase Elliott trying to find his way under Chastain. This would be for 9th place. Chase started 15th. He's picked up 5 spots, making him and Kyle Larson, his teammate, the biggest movers in this race. Plus 5.
Glued to these lap times, guys. I mean, obviously that's all focus is, are these cars going to fall off? These cars with the soft tires on, they're still running very good lap times. 1870s, 80s, 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 90 right there for Bell, still with those primary tires on.
And Christopher Bell just ran his fastest lap of the race at lap 48. He's faster on the prime tire than he was on the option tire to start the race. Ford Performance Cam for our pole sitter, Joey Logano, who's led every one of 55 laps so far.
Well, as we get on the backside of this 100-lap run here before we get to the caution, that's where you start to wonder.
Well, so the fire off, right? We learned that they're 3/10 faster taking off than those primary tires were. That being said, those 5 cars are down a set. Keep that in mind when push comes to shove and the money's on the line at the end of this race.
Very good point.
Chris Buescher in 2nd place. Boy, what a couple of weeks he's had. Being part of that finish at Kansas. Bang, bang, and oh, so close to Kyle Larson, 1/1000th of a second. And then battling for the lead last week at Darlington. He and Tyler Reddick had words afterward, and Buescher's main point, I don't have that checkered flag sticker up on my roof.
Broken heart is what he's got. Racing gods owe him one. $1 million bucks might pay it off a little bit.
He's going to get one.
Yes, sir. Knocking on the door. They got them RFK cars flying.
Denny Hamlin closing in on 7th place now.
Denny's got a lot of front wheel brake temperature, Kevin. I see the left front glowing already.
Well, you definitely definitely have to use some brake. It's not extremely heavy. So that surprises me a little bit that there's a lot of glow. It's just a little bit there. A lot of times we see that right front glow on a lot of the Fords and a lot of the cars that we've seen on the short tracks where they split that right front to get the brake temp to keep the car from getting loose in the corner. So these cars are glowing the left front just as they use the, not really glowing the left front, but they're using, you can see the rotor light up when they hit the brakes.
Well, we talked to Blaney in the pre-race about this. The workload at this racetrack, because of the grip level, is through the roof. These guys were flat wore out. Noah, the Open winner, he couldn't hardly do the interview inside that car. He was so out of breath.
Now, a lap ago, Denny Hamlin gave Suarez the bumper getting into turn number 1.
Well, we told him, Clint, we expected him to be aggressive tonight, and
he actually said he was going to.
Yeah,
which is uncharacteristic for him.
He was pretty fired up to be on the aggressive side.
Got a lot of bills to pay these days.
Well, Joey Logano has led more laps tonight than his prior 13 All-Star starts combined. He's led them all, 64 laps. So before we see these tires switch over, we're going to take a quick break. 64 complete. Joey Logano out front. .72 laps complete. Joey Logano leading from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Powering every mile and every moment on NASCAR's road to victory. Goodyear, more driven.
Getting into lap traffic. The race is going to be on here.
Yeah, and you see Noah Gragson jump that cushion there in the middle of 1 and 2, and he got by.
Now, while we were away, William Byron came to pit road to fix some right side damage. At the minimum, a bent toe link as he got into the wall up off turn 2. Watch the top of your screen.
He was loose.
There, turn 4, excuse me. And here's some radio from the 24.
I broke the toe link. Just snapped over that bump. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and that bump is just in the wrong spot, right? Like you're back in the throttle, and if you got a little bit too much wheel in it, we saw that earlier in the first open race, and just very difficult to manage that section of the racetrack and be in the throttle.
Well, unfortunately for William, it is in a bad spot, but for us, for racing, when they get side by side, it's great. It's fantastic.
So, Larry, here we are, lap 75 or so. And the lap times between the soft tire cars and the prime tire cars have now equalized.
It has, Mike, and I think the biggest thing, and we kind of have anticipated this, those on the softer tire were able to get so much of an advantage on the restart. It just opens the gap so much you just can't get back to them.
Well, these guys are going to want to do everything they can to stay on the lead lap, but Logano's going to get by Michael McDowell.
Well, the good thing for the soft tire cars, they're in front. The downside of that is the other teams have a couple of brand new soft tire sets left for the second half of this race.
Yeah, everybody here has learned that the soft tires will go far enough to do what you need to do, especially as we get to these 50-lap segments at the end of this race. And now these guys are, oh, we got a little bump there. Charlotte Knight saying hello.
Yeah. It's Michael McDowell who had just gone a lap down to Joey Logano.
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to earlier. These guys, those 5 that stayed out and elected to stay out, keep those soft tires on, they could be in trouble at the end of this race.
Looking good right now, but not having those tires.
These boys are. Lap traffic is playing a role in this. This Buescher is on him, and Blaney's shortly coming right there after them.
Clint?
Yes, sir.
That was the Kevin Harvick's happy hour cam on board Kyle Larson.
Now you're sponsoring cams, Kevin?
We're everywhere, Clint. Just get on the train and let's go.
Now, all-star caution at 100 laps, halfway. Mandatory 4-tire stop. You can put on the prime tire, you can put on the option tire, the soft tire, but you must put on 4 of the same tire. You can't mix and match.
Well, this 22 car is good.
Wraps that bottom. I was just fixing to say he can wrap the bottom better than anybody, and that's how you pass. He's able to pick through these lappers a lot better than the cars behind him, putting distance back in between him and Buescher.
Well, Joey Logano is the pole sitter, so he has pit stall number 1. He has the lead. He might just come in, put on another set of soft tires, and run the next 100 laps like he did the first.
Well, that's certainly the only thing that's mandatory is you have to put tires on in this next one. After that, it's up in the air.
What he's getting right now is impatient with Bubba Wallace.
He's got another lap or 2 before Buescher's back onto him, but you're right.
See him bounce over that bump. You have to be really careful not to bounce up into the car on the outside of you. Well, it's like we talked earlier. You're going to have to use the door to finish the pass with the way that this high groove is in order to kind of get those guys shoved up out of the corner a little bit in the middle lane.
And let me correct, it is Christopher Bell who has pit stall number 1 because they won the pit crew challenge, not the pole sitter Joey Logano. Still, he'll be fine.
The pit stop is going to change the game. It always does, and it will tonight. And that fast pit crew you speak of could be just what the doctor ordered.
Well, the fast pit crew is going to be different. And like we said earlier, you don't want to come on the pit road and fumble the bag and make all the mistakes that it takes to have a bad pit stop. We saw it in the pit crew challenge with all the mistakes that they made on the left rear, and on that left side jack, you got to give it an extra pump in order to get that car high enough to get the left rear tire back on.
Still giving him fits. Holding tough on that outside, Bubba Wallace.
There you go.
Oh, a little persuasion. All right, boy, I've had enough. Time to go.
And you see that right front rotor glowing
little payback.
Joey Logano's car. Look at that right front.
Man, that thing wraps that bottom good. But the bump off of 4, there it is. Boom, back up right into his side.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy pass. 10 laps to go to the halfway caution.
Well, now you got McDowell pushing hard, trying to get it back on the lead lap as well. Gonna have to get down here, get dirty, as Kevin calls it. I can't believe you finally admitted that you drove dirty.
There you go.
Took all these years.
There you go. Use that door.
Look at this. Buescher's right on him. He's going to have to do it.
And Bubba Wallace isn't doing anything wrong. He's trying to keep his car in the lead lap to not have to take the wave around or the lucky dog.
Can he hold him down there for 9 more laps? Or is he going to be the caution?
Chris Buescher just looking for an opening anywhere, right?
Another little love tap.
Brad Keselowski has caught Ryan Blaney. That's for 3rd place on the right.
Now you see Logano, he just laid on the bumper all the way through the first part of that corner. He is super aggravated with Bubba Wallace. Now he's just going to start pushing on the back bumper because he knows if he just sits on the inside of him and keeps burning the tires off of his car, it's not doing him any good.
Well, Coleman Presley, his spotters notifying him how to keep Buescher at bay. That's going to dictate his urgency. That 17 gets bigger in the mirror and he says go, he's going to go. That's going to do just that. Going to go right through the back bumper, that 23.
Well, and he knows right now there's only 5 laps left. So.
I think Buescher knows that too. He's kind of aborted off. Buescher's having the same trouble with McDowell, by the way.
And right now McDowell is Joey Logano's best friend. So he's not too worried about that second place car because Buescher can't quite catch him.
Tops ahead.
That's Logano's spotter.
5 to go, cover to 4. 5-4 to both lanes, tops ahead, McDowell.
That's the information he wants to hear. The information behind him. Don't get in a rush here. Don't make somebody mad if you don't have to. You might need that favor later on in the race.
And you might learn something here. You know, push them in the right spot, get them up the racetrack. Where's that sweet spot in order to move them out of the way, and how hard do I have to push them? Sometimes if you just hit them in the right spot and get them up the racetrack a little bit out of the groove, then you can do what you need to do and go on by.
3 to go to the halfway. Fastest cars on track right now are Hamlin and Chastain in 7th and 8th. And Keselowski got past Blaney for 3rd.
Right on the bottom. That's what I like about the cars that can run the bottom on the long run. I think they aren't going to do what Joey Logano was doing because their car's better on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, it's just hard to complete the pass, right? You can dive down there, really gain on them, getting into the corner much past the apex. You can't put the throttle down, use the real estate up off the corner, start to cycle back over again. That cycle of frustration.
Final lap to the halfway caution. And Bubba Wallace, boy, he's done it. He's stayed on the lead lap.
Fought hard.
What a drive.
Hey, Kevin, those tires lasted. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
All right. Logano comes across and the caution waves. Logano, Buescher, Keselowski, Blaney, and Bell. We are halfway in the NASCAR All-Star Race. halfway in the NASCAR All-Star race. Mandatory 4-tire pit stop coming. What will Team 22 do?
Did you ever feel like anything ever really gave up? I feel like you might want to just put our reds on here, take them to the end. Yeah, I agree. Before.
Only thing you can do if you're them, Larry, right?
I've seen all I need to see. Reds for everybody.
Yes,
you
sir.
get reds. You get reds. You get reds.
Soft tires all the way around. Pit road opens for those on the lead lap. Don't forget, Christopher Bell in pit stall number 1. Here we go, Jamie.
And before that radio exchange, Joey Logano, they had the primary tire on the wall. They made that audible, changed the tires because they're happy with how it was handling after 100 laps on board. Meanwhile, Chris Buescher, same thing, red tires for them as well. Regan.
It was also a late change to the primary tires for Ryan Blaney. They had, from the primaries to the reds. They've now got the reds on the wall. That is what they're going to put on the car. The soft tires tight, won't turn with his car, shearing the right front. And the 6 of Brad Keselowski was always going to put the soft tires on. He needs a little bit of rear lateral grip on the throttle. Otherwise, he's really happy with what he's got.
All right, watch on the right. Logano coming down pit road from the first pit stall to the exit. Joey Logano out in first, out first.
Number 1 box was worth 2.
Yeah. Welcome back. We're halfway in the All-Star race. Jamie.
Paul Wolf, the crew chief for Joey Logano. You came off the box, took a look at those tires after 100 laps. What do you think?
Yeah, they look really good, honestly. I mean, obviously, having the lead, you're able to manage a little bit early on there, but I think track position's king. And, you know, the strategy got sideways there when those guys came, and we knew they were going to have reds to the end. So we've kind of made our bed, and our car's good enough that I think we can manage out front with another set.
Thanks, Paul. Mike.
All right, Logano and Buescher took, or rather Keselowski, Buescher took the outside. Then Bell and Keselowski filled in on the inside.
Let's see what this Bell can do. Thank you, guys.
So everybody is now on the red option or soft tire except Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs.
What is that guy?
Having fun, no doubt.
Here we go. A lot better jump on that bottom by Bell.
Yeah, we heard those guys talk about the bottom having a tough time launching because it's right in the zone where that bump is. Christopher Bell got it going pretty good.
Be careful of the bump. There it is.
Oh, contact.
Joey's crowding him down quite a bit. He's there. Still to the inside. Door to door off of 2. He's crowding him down, and he's trying to push him up.
Well, Logano wants to keep him down as far as he can on the entry to the corner to keep his angle as straight as possible so he doesn't roll that center as good as he can. Down here, he can't really do that, and Christopher Bell's able to hook the bottom in 3 and 4.
But as Kevin pointed out several times, that upper groove has more banking and more drive off speed off the end of the corner. There goes Logano. And here's Bell with the short way around in the middle of the corner, right back at him.
Well, we saw him the lap before slide up in the middle of 1 and 2 down here and gas it up through the middle part of the corner. See them leaning on each other.
Well, that's because 8 wheels corner better than 4.
That's right. Oh, he's loose.
Oh, he's up way loose.
Both
Here
loose.
comes Denny Hamlin, too, on the bottom. Look at this, 3 wide, it's on.
Hamlin, what a move. Taking advantage of both leaders being loose, and Hamlin goes to the front.
He's trying. It's not over yet. Logano's still on the outside.
Well, these guys all know that this could be the race for the win because of how hard it is to complete the pass. So they're going to be really aggressive. And here we are again with Denny Hamlin on the inside of Joey Logano, and he just saw what went down. So he knows there's a good opportunity that he could get loose as well.
And Joey's doing a great job of trying to take their entryway. You just got to be careful. Get yourself wrecked doing that. That's aggression, man. $1 million on the line. These boys are going for it. Look at them.
Ryan Blaney coming up to challenge for 3rd now against Bell. Buescher has slipped back to 5th, and Larson is up to 6th.
How in the world did that happen? Kyle Larson is up to 6th place.
Bell's falling back. I don't know if he got damage on that car. They hit pretty hard.
When I took off on these reds on practice day, the first several laps were very, the car would turn really, really hard, and you had to manage the back.
Trouble, turn 1. Ty Gibbs around, and there were a lot of cars surrounding him, or rather, would not be surprised if there was some contact involved. Oh no. Again? Third caution of the night. It comes out at lap 119 for Ty Gibbs' spin down in turn 1. On that last restart on the second lap, they were 4 wide in the back. I promise you, the racing here is every bit as intense as it's been up front.
Yeah, well, yeah, the 8 just barely touched him in the back right there, but going into turn 1, we talk about it. It's downhill. That section is really, really flat.
Yeah, he got him loose there, and then he finished him off, unfortunately, the second time.
Kyle Busch not messing around tonight, Glenn.
Noah Gragson will get the free pass on this 3rd caution of the night. Going to show you our pods. Big move of the night. And to no one's surprise, it is Denny Hamlin. As Logano and Bell battle and both get loose, here comes Hamlin. Well, 12 wheels corner better than 8 or 4.
Yeah, and the reason that Christopher Bell got loose getting into turn 3 is Joey kind of chopped him down right there to try to keep him down the racetrack, as he should, to keep his angle off, and it got the front of that car out of whack, and then it got loose. Lucky they didn't wreck right there.
Well, he used him to keep himself from wrecking.
All right, Daniel Suarez has pitted. So is Tyler Reddick. In Suarez's case, the prime tire is going on, while Reddick is putting on the soft tire.
Well, we saw a pretty high level of intensity right there, Clint, compared to what we saw in the first run. So this is these guys know that these restarts are important. So when you're on the bottom, you know that if you can get underneath that guy, you got to finish the pass. And that's what we were talking about earlier. You got to be aggressive with the door and getting up the racetrack to try to clear that guy.
Let's give a listen to Kyle Busch's radio.
That was my bad. My bad. 10-4. Let him know. What'd you have there, pal? Traffic.
Well, that's not great feedback, but
he's frustrated.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
We both know him good enough. What a night. It's shaping up to be a good one, boys.
Well, what a
weekend. Got all the heavy hitters up front, 3 wide. I'm loving what I see.
This racetrack is, we talked about it earlier, just the way that they've redone everything and the way that it feels, but the lights at this racetrack are all those new LED lights, and there is not a racetrack that I've ever been to that you can see as good and as crisp as you can at this racetrack. It is unbelievable to drive and be able to see like this at night.
Now, yesterday, 4 inches of rain fell in 2 hours, and you can't believe what Steve Swift's crew had to do. They got a quarry to open up overnight so that 40 dump truck loads of gravel totaling 900 tons were brought in here to create aisles in the parking lots that just weren't waterlogged. They brought 6 tour vans from Charlotte Motor Speedway as shuttles. They developed an alternate parking plan with the community college, and crews worked all night to clean up this. How about Christian Eckes going for a swim along with several of the crew guys as 2 feet of water
is unbelievable.
Sat there down at the end of pit road. What just an amazing job to get this track ready to race tonight.
The boys are back on the ready off of 4. Here we go.
Ryan Blaney tests the outside, trying to draw even with Hamlin, and Bell is right there.
Hamlin's going to clear him. He's still on the outside, though, trying to hang tough. There he is. Denny was, without a doubt, head and shoulders above the rest of them in practice, right? He was the fastest car.
And here comes Larson on the inside.
Unbelievable.
Against Buescher.
That kid is.
Earlier, Kyle Larson set the rookie record at Indy for the fastest single qualifying lap in history. 233.4 miles per hour.
That's an unbelievable transition. I couldn't imagine going 233 mile an hour, right? And then on an average, and then trying to come here and sort this thing out with no practice, nothing. If anybody can do it, it's him.
Kid's an unbelievable talent.
Flipped a sprint car. I think he flipped Thursday night in a sprint car somewhere.
Well, he's so good that nothing phases him, and that's one of the things that makes him so good is the fact that he just never gets excited, Clint. But the thing that I did learn this weekend, Kyle Larson is a great race car driver in anything that he gets into. His team, Cliff Daniels and that team, they are awesome, and the work that they did on that car during practice and to change all the seats and the things that they did. That guy right there, Cliff Daniels, is a leader, and that's what it takes to be successful in this sport. Great combination between the team and the driver. Jamie?
So impressive what Kyle Larson's doing here. Obviously started last because he jumped in the car without practice. Now he's battling for a top 5. Cliff Daniels telling him right now, what you're doing on the bottom at 1 and 2 is great. Kyle's only feedback so far starts off good and then he builds a little bit tight. But just to go back to what's going on with Kyle, he leaves after this race, goes back up to Indy, has practice tomorrow. Then carb day is on Friday. And guys, they are flying his entire 5 team up there. Mechanics, everyone involved, including the pit crew. So it's going to be a big day for them up in Indianapolis.
Very cool.
That's fantastic. What a celebration.
And let's not forget that side of it, right? Like the ownership side of it and understanding how much of a team sport this is. Take all those guys up there. I've been to Carb Day and being able to watch that race from that galley, the little trough right there next to the racetrack. It's pretty awesome.
What's pretty awesome right now is Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin going at it for second place. Now, Blaney was trying the top. Now he's gone to the bottom because Hamlin has established himself up in that top groove and is not going to let Blaney up there alongside.
Well, that Blaney car was fast in practice yesterday too. Had a lot of speed, firing off. We feel like Denny Hamlin had the best car over the whole run. A lot of good cars up there behind Joey Logano right now.
Man, those three are on it, aren't they? That's a 54 for the leader, 56, and a 54 for third. Just all in the 50s. Throw a blanket over them, running the exact same lap times.
Now there will be one more caution flag, an all-star caution at around lap 150, NASCAR says. Not exactly lap 150, but in that vicinity.
Back under him again for a third try here. Gonna have to push him up that racetrack. This is a hard one to complete this pass.
So Larry, we've only got 15 laps to go before you have the opportunity, but not the obligation to take 4 tires.
Yeah, 4 of the top 7 are definitely going to stay out. When you look at Logano, Blaney, Buescher, and Keselowski, they have no more softs. But somewhere there's going to be a cutoff. I'm going to say some back there, like about Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott, that's back about just outside or inside the top 10. Come get another set of soft. You're not going to win from where you're at on the same tires.
Good point.
That might just be enough. If you get that far of a deficit on these tires and you have an advantage with the set of softs, you're going to refire very well.
Well, these 3 have pulled away from the field by a full second now.
Yeah, I like Denny Hamlin's line through 1 and 2. Right at the top.
Leader's driving off from him. He's holding Blaney up.
9th place. Reddick trying to take it back from Chase Elliott. 2nd place.
Well, the interesting thing that I see is, Tyler Reddick had a small tire advantage and he's made some ground. He pitted like 16 laps after he was up there racing, but we got a race here for second.
Yeah, this is interesting. Hamlin has given Blaney the top. Before he wouldn't let him up there, and Blaney goes by. So roughly 9 laps to go to the final all-star caution. With still 16 cars on the lead lap. Ty Gibbs 1 lap down is in the free pass position.
Been a minute since we've seen Logano be this dominant on a racetrack. It's got to feel good running up front. Led it every step of the way so far.
Here's Logano's radio.
Nothing more than we need. The 12 is going to be on the same strategy, I would think. Doesn't have any reds to put on, so you don't need to push too hard either.
There it is. Just manage this cycle. Manage that gap behind you. He's not going to push it any harder than you. This caution comes out. We're staying out.
Well, earlier today, Roger Penske swept the front row for the Indy 500. Now, 2 of his Fords are leading the All-Star race with 56 to go.
A lot of work for these guys inside of these race cars. We've talked about it. You hear the corner speed right there. Hear them lift, go right into the corner, and go right back to a little bit of partial throttle to get the car going up off the corner. But these laps happen fast, and it's intense because of the corner entry and the car being a little bit edgy, and then you're right off the brake and back into the throttle. So this is a really, really fast short track right now with the new pavement.
I love that they were able to keep the characteristics of the track, right? They repaved it, but they wanted those bumps to stay there. Bump getting in 3, you can see it, and that big bump down there off of 4. That was by design. Kept the characteristics of this old place, but let's repave it, make sure it's safe for the drivers.
And last year it was just so wore out that it was almost hard to race because of the fact that it was just hard to get a hold of the racetrack. Now,
well, there wasn't much racetrack left. It was more patches than actual racetrack.
Fair enough.
Larry, roughly 2 to go to this final All-Star caution as Kyle Larson and Brad Keselowski have at it here. If you're Joey Logano on this caution, Larry, do you stay out or do you come get tires?
You stay out. I've already packed my pit box up. We're already loading it in a hauler right now. They have no more red softs left.
Okay.
Yeah, you are not going to win this race on the primaries.
Sixth place here. And there's the caution. 50 to go with Joey Logano leading the NASCAR All-Star race in North Wilkesboro. Tonight's aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, powering every lap, every mile, and every victory on the road ahead. Goodyear, more driven. All right, pit road is open. Pit stops, tire changes are optional.
Look at this. Oh, psych. They're not coming. First one, number 5, Kyle Larson. Jamie.
And I'm looking at the tires. They have the scuffed reds that they started the race on, going on the 5 machine. Meanwhile, the 9, Chase Elliott, in as well. He has the sticker set of the softer tire. Those will go on for him. Regan.
All right. Pit stops continue further down pit road. Kyle Busch is in. Ross Chastain is in. So the first 10 or so did not stop. So from Larson on back, cars that had new or just barely scuffed soft tires came in to get them. And we'll line them up with 46 to go to the finish. We'll take you side by side. Team Penske running 1-2. They are the only team to ever finish 1-2 in an all-star race. 2016, Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski did it. It's Logano and Blaney up front right now. Who are we looking at in our Credit One Bank ones to watch not named Joey Logano?
It's like this simple. I'm watching Ryan Blaney. Is he willing to do what it takes to win him $1 million? And that's going to be at the expense of wrecking his teammate.
I think my guy's going to be there to pick up the pieces. Denny Hamlin, he managed very
so you're thinking my guy might do that?
Bristol, and I'm hoping that your guy does that.
We've been watching Kyle Larson have fun all day at Indianapolis, here at North Wilkesboro. Won 3 of the last 5 all-star races. Let's see.
Why not?
He's the first one with new tires on this pit stop, and those are your Credit One Bank ones to watch. The first 7 cars did not stop under this caution.
Oh, Blaney's loose getting into the corner. Hold on to it.
Well, that stacks him up. Advantage to the cars that were on the outside lane. 3 wide. Mid-pack.
Man, Blaney's car's way loose on the bottom all of a sudden.
3 wide again.
He put the pressure on him.
Larson on the inside, 3 wide. How about that?
Laid the horn to him.
Yeah, and that's a big move for Kyle Larson because of those new tires. I think firing off on used tires definitely takes a minute to get going. Cars don't turn as good.
Larson up to 5th, first car on new rubber.
Can he get the job done? Here he goes.
Here it goes right there. That car is able to rotate in the middle of the corner and drive up off. Watch this car rotate right here.
Those new tires able to put the power down.
Larson to 4th, challenging for 3rd.
These boys might be in trouble. Here he comes.
Clear.
Logano and Hamlin are about to have a mirror full of the 5.
A lot of laps. 38 to go.
And I love the fact that he can drive over that patch on the inside of turn 1, cut the middle part of that corner.
I think you pounce on him as soon as you get to him.
Utilize
the goodie in the
Watch this right here, Clint. Watch how he can drive over there where they cut this wall. Boom. Right there on the, look how much time he makes up through the center of the corner.
Yes, sir. Utilize the goodie out of these tires. It's going to be on the front side of these runs. Get up there, put the pressure on them, and go for it right here.
And he's found that line all in these 163 laps. No practice, no qualifying, just the race. And he's found a way to maybe win. What is your share of the $1 million,
I don't know,
Kevin?
but I need to find out pretty quick.
Well, I can tell you this is taking the pressure off of you, Kevin.
One lap ago, Kyle Larson ran his personal fastest lap of the race, and he may not be done with that as he goes after Hamlin for 2nd. Unbelievable.
Well, the longer this goes right here, the harder it's going to be because these guys are going to start to even out.
That's why I said you need to pounce on them. Do it as fast as you possibly can. Utilize the strength in those tires being new. And these are scuffs, right? What do they have? 3 or 4, a handful of laps on them?
Yeah, I don't even know that they had that many.
One green lap.
Well, green, yeah, but rolled around there. It woke that baby up, didn't it?
Match gaps 2, he's clear.
Yeah, the only thing that I would be careful with right here through 1 and 2 is just overheating those tires. We all know that Kyle Larson likes to drive off that right rear tire, but continuously driving it down there to the bottom, and we see him move up. Moved up a whole lane right there.
It's a 48 for your leader, 46 for Hamlin, 51 for him.
Blaney coming back on the outside of Wallace for 5th with 31 to go and takes the spot as we watch this fight for 2nd continue. .30 to go, and we'll take you side by side one more time. Welcome back to the NASCAR All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro. 23 laps to go. Joey Logano has now led more laps than any driver has ever led in an All-Star race in its 40-year history. Hamlin second, Larson third, Buescher Blaney. Now, next Sunday on Fox, one of NASCAR's crown jewels and one of our favorite events. We will honor our nation's heroes at the Coca-Cola 600. Pre-race 5:30 Eastern, green flag at 6. Next Sunday on Fox.
Well, he's starting to fade now, Kevin. Buescher's putting some pressure on him.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, just making it happen as quick as possible. So you had to use up as little tire as possible, but definitely headed the wrong direction now.
So Larson's gone to the top of the racetrack trying to hold on to third position here as Chris Buescher and Ryan Blaney draw a bead on the 5. Top 5 cars did not stop under that last caution except for Larson.
Pace is a lot faster than I thought it would be, Clint. We knew it would be a little bit faster, but I didn't expect it to be as fast as it is. I think that the nighttime temperatures definitely have something to do with that, as you hear Kyle Larson's car up on the rev limiter at the end of the straightaway.
Well, you know it does. I mean, look how much less of a fall off that we have in this race versus the Open that was during the heat of the day.
How'd you like to beat Chris Buescher? Him again?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks ago they had the closest finish ever in NASCAR history between these two. And now they're battling once again.
You don't think confidence and momentum means anything in this sport, you're flat wrong. Chris Buescher has showed up.
It is
Since
real.
Kansas, he has been up front and just knocking on that door.
And Chris Buescher, I mean, he just has that style of racing where he's going to finish races. And now that he has fast cars, all those years of not having those fast cars and having to grind it out, now when he's grinding it out for 4th, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, whatever those are, he just consistently is keeping himself in the mix, and he's going to knock that wall down and get to victory lane.
Those turn into wins.
Yes, they do.
Whoa.
Pretty impressive how this racetrack has spread out like it has, Clint. We've talked about it for a couple days now. We saw a great truck race today. All these guys running around the top. Last year they ran on the apron.
Oh, every lap. You were if you were going to move them, you were pushing them off the apron. Here, this has been a 3-wide scenario at this track since we started. Truck race was phenomenal, racing all over the place. The Open was good. This is one of my favorite short tracks all of a sudden.
13 to go. Wouldn't mind seeing one more caution, but there are none scheduled.
Oh, you're asking for one. You got a trend for us, Larry? Is there a trend handy?
My trend is take Joey Logano on a 22 car to something new. They go to victory lane. Bristol dirt, first trip out to LA Coliseum, new configuration of pavement, North Wilkesboro.
Good point.
Experience figures it out fast, it sounds like.
Well, he's already told us this track, the tire test that they did at this very track, helped them on their short track program clear back in Richmond. And helping them again tonight. Big payday coming in 11 laps. 10 to go at the line. What would you do with $1 million right now, Kev? Life's changed a little bit for you.
Put it in the bank.
See, you've gotten old.
You? What would you do?
We're both
Spend it?
old.
You'd put it in the bank too. Well, we talk about this 22 team and all the things that they've been going through at the beginning of the year. It's hard to keep experienced champions, crew chiefs, drivers of that caliber, just hard to keep down when they're paired together. Paul Wolfe, Joey Logano have done a great job. Denny Hamlin been right in the middle of it everywhere we've gone. So see him start to creep back in just a little bit. Maybe that 22 car is just managing his pace.
Seen once they got that outside rubbered in well, it's become the preferred groove, and makes it very difficult to shoot that bottom and make a difference.
Chris Buescher has now fallen in line behind Larson, not challenging him at the moment. Maybe trying to cool his tires down a bit for a run in the closing couple of laps.
Well, I think with that, when that top groove becomes dominant like that, it's hard to figure out exactly where to set him up, and I think Chris probably figured, hey, I've overheated my tires on the bottom. You're probably right. I'm going to give it one more shot, hoping that Kyle slips up on the outside and I can.
And here it is.
Clear him on the exit.
Here it is, Buescher, right there. They were door handle to door handle at the line, if these things had door handles.
And they have opposite grooves down here. Chris goes to the bottom, Kyle stays on the top. See that right front rotor glowing on Chris's car. Just so hard to finish that pass with that bump and the way that it all times out on the exit of that corner. This place ages a little bit, Clint. This is going to be one neat place to race.
Already is. Don't forget, this is only half the bunch, right? You put the rest of them out there, just like that truck race. It was racing all over the place. They were always mired in traffic. That's the difference maker.
Now that battling has drawn Blaney right back to them. So now it is a 3-car race for third behind Logano and Hamlin. Here they are on the right.
Well, this guy has dominated all night. Put himself in position starting on the pole.
He's led all but one lap so far.
Well, he's only got one more. He needs to lead.
White flag, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Denny Hamlin still 0.6 of a second behind, right where he's been for the last 4 to 5 laps. Close, but no closer. Joey Logano has won the 40th annual NASCAR All-Star Race and $1 million. Denny Hamlin second. Chris Buescher by 9/100ths of a second over Kyle Larson for third, and Ryan Blaney fifth.
Well, I don't care if this is the All-Star race. This is real momentum when you can win a race no matter what it is, and Joey Logano and his team have put it into victory lane, and they are back.
Well, Joey's last point win was Atlanta spring a year ago, 44 points races ago.
These Ford Mustangs are back, Kevin. I don't know what they found, what they did. Rumor is a little bit of engines, a little bit of everything. But these cars are very competitive. Now, I thought it was just an intermediate. Now they're fast on the short tracks as well.
It's Logano's second All-Star win, comes in his 14th start. He is the 9th driver to win multiple All-Star races and the second to win the All-Star race at different tracks. 5th win for Team Penske. 4 different drivers have won the All-Star race for Roger. And it's the 14th All-Star win for Ford.
Plenty of tire left.
Joey had his son and his whole crew walk out with him for driver introductions.
He's been waiting for a while to do that burnout. He's getting his money worth
There they
tonight.
went. Heck of a burnout.
And now the 33-year-old from Middletown, Connecticut has a million reasons to celebrate. Jamie Little.
Joey Logano is pumped as he goes up to get his flag. Joey, it's no secret, it's been a struggle for you and this team this year. You come out here tonight, absolutely dominated like nobody has done at an all-star race. What does this do for the morale for you and this team? Here comes your son, your dad. Woo!
Oh man, how about that, Wilkesboro? That was awesome. What an incredible Shell Penzo Mustang. It was so fast. I mean, we came here and tested. We ran over 800 laps at the tire test. Paul really put me to work and really figured out what it's going to take to win the race. The boys executed a fantastic stop, fantastic weekend, great execution.
3 generations. Great job, brother. Great job.
And
3 generations of Logano's right here.
It's been a while, Jamie, since we've won a race, and I wish this one counted for points, but $1 million will work as well.
Joey, you mentioned that you did the tire test here with 2 other drivers. What did you learn there and on Friday that gave you guys the confidence you can run as long as you did on that softer tire?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't so certain, right? We ran over 60 laps in practice, and the tires looked okay, and yeah, you don't know exactly what the strategy was going to be, but it's a total team win, right? Because it takes a strategy like we talked about. Obviously, it takes a fast car. It takes the execution. Then he gave me a run for my money. His short run was so fast, and my long run was so great, so I just had to battle him off. And when there's $1 million on the line, I think all the rules go out the window of clean. So I knew that was coming. I was trying to maintain that clean air. If I lost the clean air, we wouldn't have won the race. So we maintained it all day, and man, feels good. Feels great.
Congratulations. Joey Logano fired up, and we've got a fight going on right now between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Those two crashed back at lap number 2. And now the pit crews are involved. The second replay we had showed that Stenhouse apparently did not contact Kyle Busch, who thought that Ricky ran him up and into the wall and then turned Stenhouse into the wall and out of the race.
Well, he did contact Kyle Busch. Right there, I think he got him.
Yeah, with his fist.
Little action. Kevin, you always like little action.
Here's another look. Now,
yeah, this happened after Ricky was in the middle of the racetrack, past Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch put him in the fence right there.
Yeah, that's retaliation.
This started out as a discussion and then escalated. With $1 million at stake. And on lap 2 of the race.
Looks like short track racing to me, Kevin. Grew up watching stuff like this, unfortunately, but that's just part of it.
Yeah, that is a big pit crew member that is clearing the way for things to end.
So let's go back and show you this. Stenhouse, this was the second move he'd made 3 wide. The first one was successful, trying to come up through the middle, but you see Busch with contact to the wall there. And then at the other end of the racetrack, retaliation here.
Well,
all right, let's check in with Regan Smith.
Well, Mike, things a little bit calmer over here on pit road with Denny Hamlin. Denny started 11th, worked your way all the way up to 2nd place. I know there's a little debate on whether you wanted tires at the end there or not. Ultimately decided not to. Could that have made a difference?
I don't know. I mean, I needed more of an advantage to pass for sure. I mean, I would run to them, and then you couldn't pass. You just would lose a little bit of aero there, and I'd get my car a break. I'd try to run to them again. You got to be so much faster to get around. So, hats off to the track and NASCAR and Goodyear for giving it a try, and certainly, hopefully, we learn something here for future short tracks. But headed for our whole Mavis Tire team, but I mean, at least we had an exciting fight in the end. We got something to talk about, so.
All right, thanks, Danny.
There's Joey Logano on the way to Victory Lane, which is unique here at Wilkesboro. You drive onto a lift that carries you up to a second story. Let's go back and show you the in-car replay, looking ahead here at Ricky Stenhouse and what happened between he and Kyle Busch. Well, that was the end of it. That one was pretty obvious.
Yeah, that one was Kyle Busch just dumping him into the fence right there on the retaliation side of things. After he felt like Stenhouse did him wrong. For us, it felt like he drove through the middle of the racetrack and didn't really do anything wrong, Clint.
Well, Joey Logano did everything right. He led all but one lap in the NASCAR All-Star race to win $1 million. We will check in with the Charlotte studio when we come back on Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night at historic North Wilkesboro.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.